now it's 2025, right? We got to get ready for the next cycle as well. And we've talked a lot about the things that have led to the transaction wire and a lot of guys committing and decommitting as we go. But let's start at the top. Top 247 edge, Zion Grady from the Montgomery area, the number 26 player in the country, the number 3 edge. Well, guess what? He decommitted from Alabama today. Drew, I think a guy that in the evaluation process, we're still trying to figure out, right? High motor, very productive in terms of the developmental upside. We'll see, right? This is going to be a guy that we're going to continue to monitor over the next year or so. But Drew, we talked enough about Caleb Downs and Kane Proctor to maybe understand why some of these defections are happening. Who's to gain for somebody like Zion Grady going back on the market?
I think it's Auburn, right? Tom Lloyd just wrote a story on 247sports.com. Grady was on the plains. I mean, we didn't really discuss that in Tuesday's episode. We highlighted schools that could take advantage, and I think we notably left out Auburn when that was a breakaway layup. I mean, maybe it was just an oversight for us, but Hugh Freeze has done excellent recruiting in-state since he has stepped in there. And now with Nick Saban not looking over his shoulder, I think he's only going to have more success in the Yellowhammer State. Zion Grady, I view him as a stand-up kind of 3-4 edge rusher. Want to see him at some point on the camp circuit, off-season circuit, just to get the body type this spring. How big can he get? Can he carry 255? Can he get to 265? What does he look like in terms of there? But his ability to get to the quarterback, 2-time Class 5A Defensive Lineman of the Year, past 2 seasons, 50 pressures, 32 sacks, 63 tackles for loss. I think he's a little more finesse than he is kind of edge masher at this stage, but it's easy to see why Auburn's looking. And Tom Lloyd also pointed out Georgia and Florida State set to get visits here with the contact period open. I mean, kids can visit schools. Had a bunch of junior days last weekend. We got more junior days on deck this weekend.
Not the only damage done to the Crimson Tide in the last 24 hours. How about top 247 edge Javian Hilson, number 46 player in the country, number 4 edge right there behind Zion Grady. Guess what? He flips from Alabama to Florida State, right? We've talked a lot about the teams that could be ready to pounce here. And we've talked a lot about Georgia. We've talked a lot about Auburn, Florida State getting in on the action here. Drew, this kind of coincides with the conversation that we just had. We're talking about the number 3 and number 4 edge rushers in the country, albeit a lot can change over the next year. And this is a 2025 cycle that we're talking about. But these are premium positions. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Even though that these guys are in the boat early, it doesn't take away from the importance of having these type of players in your program.
How about Alabama, right? All the way down. They've fallen from number 3 a week ago. I think they were number 3 in the 2025 cycle, the recruiting class, when Nick Saban announced that he was retiring or news broke. They're now sitting number 27th. I mean, there's only a handful of guys still committed. I thought all along that 2025 group was promising. I mean, there were some difference makers in there. It felt a little bit different than the 2024 recruiting class. Maybe it was tracking to be more like 2023 when they brought in Downs and Proctor, who have become the theme of this episode. But Hilson, guy I saw in person during the season when Coco took on St. Thomas Aquinas in one of the most controversial endings. I don't know if you remember me talking about that, Cooper, when the referees essentially awarded St. Thomas Aquinas a win. But he's got a long frame, right? Long frame, multi-sport kid, 5'10" in the high jump, 11.29 in the 100-meter dash. Why is that important? I always talk about it. You look at NFL draft trends. A lot of the pass rushers getting selected have promising track and field data. Javion Hilson has that. 97 tackles, 14 sacks, 3 forced fumbles for Coco this season. They ended up winning a state title in Florida. I think he's a bit rigid at times, but he covers a ton of ground, builds momentum, and he can change directions. So growth potential is there with Hilson. And how about Florida State? Number 11 class right now in 2025. All 4 of the commits are from the state of Florida. They got Solomon Thomas locked up. He's a kid out of the Jacksonville area, our number 1 ranked interior offensive lineman. And then Ethan Pritchett, kind of a versatile back 7 guy, maybe a linebacker, could be a safety. And Tramel Jones a quarterback. I really like this group for Mike Norvell. Parlaying that season they had into some success in the state of Florida. Right now, a good start for the Seminoles.
Yeah, trying to capitalize on the year that they had throughout the Orange Bowl, right? Had a tremendous year. The good thing about Mike Norvell and that Florida State program, everything that they've done, whether it be the transfer portal, whether it be the high school ranks, they've just continued to ascend. They've gotten better and better every year. Part of the reason they're paying Mike Norvell $10 million a year now. So another big pickup from them. Drew, two more, this time not decommitments, but commitments. About Terry and Grant, number 51 player in the country, number 6 corner out of the state of Tennessee, Murfreesboro. He's going to play for, guess who? Ryan Walters. How about that big one for Purdue and the Boilermakers? And then Jalen Wiggins, top 247 defensive line, big physical specimen out of the state of Florida. He's going to stay home and play for the Gators. Drew, your thoughts, quick thoughts on those two guys.
Terry and Grant. This one's fun. He'd be the second highest ranked signee all time for Purdue. Still early in the 2025 cycle. I mean, we'll see how the rankings shake out, but he is a long reactionary corner listed at 6'4". I would say he's probably closer to 6'3", 6'2", but elite track times. This guy can run. Lacks a little bit of ball production. I don't think a ton of passes have come his way, but for a guy that is as lean and as narrow as he is, he's got some impressive POA tape in terms of his ability to make tackles. I don't know. This one kind of fires me up about Purdue, just them going into SEC country and getting Grant committed. Now they're going to have to hold on to him, but it's a big deal. And Purdue, we saw Marco Davia at the All-American Bowl, their 2024 quarterback. I think me and you are both fans, not only of him, but of the fit there in West Lafayette. And then Coy Beasley, top 247 safety. He's turning some heads out at the Polynesian Bowl. So Purdue kind of getting it done on the talent acquisition front. They've also done it in the transfer portal as well.
Yeah, they're doing some things. They're pretty sneaky. I like what Ryan Walters is doing. Obviously, they didn't have the year that he would have liked in his first year. Jamari Payne, another highly rated 3-star defensive lineman out of the state of Alabama. So Purdue, a team to watch. I love the success that they had in the state of Tennessee this past year as well. Damon Marble, another guy that I really like. So Purdue, team to watch. Florida, adding another guy that I think kind of checks their boxes, right? Jalen Wiggins kind of reminds me a little bit of a watered down version. I want to be careful here of a guy like Zach Harrison, the former 5-star who played at Ohio State, a guy that could play on the edge, ended up moving inside, more of a linear, explosive type of player, but a guy nonetheless that I think will be a productive player for Florida in the Gators.